One Piece 1149 spoilers. Finally appears. One Piece Chapter 1149 spoilers hint that might finally appear, and the situation at Mary Geoise is not so good. The fight against the Holy Knights is getting hotter, especially after the appearance of Scopper Gaban. The battle conditions seem to be turning around after the appearance of Scopper Gaban. Even so, it seems that the conditions did not last long. So, what happens in the next chapter? Based on the spoiler information, the chapter itself opens with the continuation of the fight between Saint Summers and Scopper Gaban. In this new chapter, it is shown how Scopper Gaban finally wins the fight against Saint Summers. His body was split by Gaban's powerful axe attack. However, it appears that Saint Summers is still not completely dead, but his body can no longer regenerate. The moment then shifts to show how Gunko tries to finish off Cologne, where he threatens Scopper Gaban to surrender. In fact, Scopper Gaban himself has already attacked Gunko. However, he uses Haki to see into the future. In his view, it is shown how Scopper Gaban attacks Gunko and then stabs Cologne with his arrow. This is what then makes Gaban finally stop attacking Gunko and decide to surrender. Seeing this, Gunko then attacks Scopper Gaban by stabbing him and then throwing him off the cliff. Interestingly, the moment then shifts back to Gunko, where we see a flashback of Brook. In the flashback, it is revealed that Gunko actually knows Brook, where she is the girl Brook knew long before he became a pirate. Interestingly, Gunko is aware and he is influenced by him. Gunko then tries to save Brook after he attacks him. However, tries to control Gunko's body again, and he is furious because the Holy Knights have been in Elbaf for too long. The interesting fact is that the situation in Mary Geoise is also not good at this time. Mary Geoise is in a state of great burning and is under massive attack. At the end of the chapter, said that he will show the world how God rules the world. Fans have long predicted that Scopper Gaban's Haki power level could be said to be very powerful. However, One Piece 1149 spoilers show that Scopper Gaban's Haki ability. In the One Piece story, it is explained that Scopper Gaban is one of Gold Roger's trusted men besides Rayleigh. Scopper Gaban sailed to Laugh-Tale Island with the rest of Roger's crew. If we look at his status in the crew, it is possible that Scopper Gaban was one of the first crew members to join Roger. The captain himself described Scopper Gaban as one of his best crew members, which means he is very strong. In several moments, we are shown the extent of Scopper Gaban's strength. In Kazuki Oden's flashback, it was shown how Scopper Gaban was able to face dozens of enemies alone. Then, in the Elbaf arc in the previous chapter, it was mentioned how Scopper Gaban was nicknamed Mount Eater, whose power was able to destroy even mountains. The fight against Saint Summers is another clear proof of Gaban's strength, especially Haki's power. Roger's crew is indeed famous for not having devil fruits, except for Buggy, where they rely on Haki abilities. So far, the Haki abilities of Roger's crew have indeed been shown to be extraordinary. Examples include Rayleigh, Shanks, and of course Scopper Gaban. However, the Haki abilities of Scopper Gaban himself, or perhaps even most of Roger's crew, are indeed extraordinary. The most recent thing is that he can actually see into the future when he sees the lives of Cologne in danger. This seems similar to what Shanks showed when he was about to attack Eustace Kid. However, what is interesting is that Rayleigh is shown not using this ability. Whether it means that Rayleigh does not have this powerful ability is still unknown. What appears in the One Piece Chapter 1149 spoiler regarding Gunko's past seems to confirm the theory that appeared previously. Gunko himself is one of the new characters introduced in the Elbaf arc some time ago. He appeared in the underworld along with Figureland Shamrock. Gunko himself initially appeared mysteriously, where he wore a long robe that covered his body and face. However, an interesting thing then emerged, where Chapter 1147 of the One Piece manga presented a detail related to Gunko's figure. In the detail, it is shown how Brook looks at Gunko as if he can't believe what is in front of him. This detail makes many fans speculate that Gunko may have known Brook for a long time. In fact, the theory or speculation itself states that Gunko knew Brook when he was still alive or human. This detail makes many fans speculate that Gunko may have known Brook for a long time. In fact, the theory or speculation itself states that Gunko knew Brook when he was still alive or human. Or as if he can't believe that he will meet Gunko again. The theory itself states that there is a possibility that Gunko has lived for hundreds of years and he is a character who is close to the Figureland family. Chapter 1149 then provides confirmation about Gunko where it turns out that he has indeed lived for tens or even hundreds of years. However, the question that then arises is what exactly is the relationship between Gunko and Brook? The most reasonable speculation is that Gunko is likely a childhood friend or colleague of Brook like Yuta and Luffy. Another interesting fact is that Gunko does not move on its own, meaning that Gunko is under Im's influence. Again, this seems to confirm the theory that is also developing among fans that Im is indeed the one controlling the Gorosei and Holy Knights. This also seems to confirm that the power they have is likely to come from Im. The most surprising thing, of course, is how Im said that the situation in Mary Geoise was in critical condition. This is certainly beyond the predictions of the fans where Mary Geoise was actually under attack. In fact, Mary Geoise had previously been attacked, but this was during Reverie. In this incident, it was shown how Sabo was able to infiltrate the Pangea Palace and find out the facts about him. In fact, as a result of this, Im finally used Mother Flame to destroy Lelugia Island, which was considered Sabo's hideout. The moment of the attack that occurred in Mary Geoise itself was likely a long-term plan that had been prepared for a long time by the Revolutionary Army. As geeks know, the Revolutionary Army's movements are highly anticipated. It's been decades since they were introduced in the story, but their movements are highly anticipated because they have done almost nothing. However, in the previous chapter, it was shown how Dragon said that they would only move after the Holy Knights group moved. Most likely the current attack on Mary Geoise is an action presented by the Revolutionary Army after the Holy Knights moved. On the other hand, we are also surprised by Im's statement that he will likely appear after decades of hiding in the shadows. Im's statement that he will show how God rules the world shows how Im really does have a very big ambition to be able to rule the whole world. Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thanks a lot, Luffy lovers.